Okay, so on the far right we've got a unit of Bloodletters with a Herald of Tzeentch behind them. He's rolled Blades and Searing Doom. Two units of Khorne Furies, Khorne Blood Crushers with a Herald of Khorne, Frenzy Locust there, Skull Cannon, and the dogs are not yet deployed. On my opponent's side, we've got Zombies, some Skeleton Cavalry, a unit of Skeletons, Terrorgeist, some Black Knights with two Vampires, unit of Dogs, unit of Crypt Ghouls, and a unit of Crypt Horrors. He gets turn one. So essentially, he's moved forward. He's advancing with the Terrorgeist, that's the centre of his attack, against the cannon, which he sees as a threat. He's hoping to protect his Terrorgeist from my charge with his Blood Crushers by basically putting a sandbag there with the skeletons, hoping I'll not want to get bogged down. He gets 4 on the magic, and he rolls Dance Macabre, which is dispelled. So here are my turn 1. The Crushers have charged the Terrorgeist and will basically rip through it. Got a little bit lucky on the dice rolls, but not too much. The Cannon has charged the Light Cavalry, and the Furies have advanced there, you can see, to hold off the Cavalry to protect my Blood Crushers flank from a charge. The other unit of Furies are waiting in the middle till something more useful comes up. The Herald is moving into place for a spell, and the Bloodletters are just advancing on the other side there. So this is actually the end of the same turn. The Crushers, you can see, have overrun, having gone through the Terrorgeist, and the Cannon has reformed. And this is actually the end of my turn 1. As there is a momentary gap in narration here, I will mention I did also use Blades with the Crushers there, which helped them get through the Terrorgeist. So here in his turn 2 is Black Knights have ripped through the Furies as expected. His dogs have failed to charge on my Bloodletters, which is going to set them up against the Furies. The Ghouls and the Crypt Ghouls are advancing. You can see the Skeletons here closer to us are advancing on the Skull Cannon to sort of cut it off. Obviously the Skull Cannon doesn't have a great number of attacks to get through their numbers. So into my turn 2, the Letters have charged the Ghouls and more or less wiped them out, and have actually reformed to have the Crypt Horrors on the flank there, so that they can face the main body of the Ghouls that's approaching. The Furies have charged the Dogs, and they're Furies of Khorne, so they've actually ripped them apart, and are getting ready to support the Bloodletters. The Herald of Tzeentch has moved out of danger's way because, of course, the Black Knights had moved over. You can see a terrible shot there from the cannon as it's gone 2 and 2. On the artillery dice, and the Blood Crushers, I think I actually forgot to move. I think we were interrupted. So into his turn 3, the Crypt Ghouls have charged the Bloodletters. The heavy cavalry are moving around to support them, and the Skeletons are advancing on the Skull Cannon in the middle there. So in my next turn, I've moved the Furies over to try and protect the Bloodletters from the Black Knights, but that would prove futile because basically the Crypt Ghouls ripped them apart by themselves. A couple of attacks each, toughness 4 and poison was just too much. The Dogs have arrived, and I've brought them on from the flank just because of how far over the Black Knights are, and the Crushers are advancing on the Skeletons to protect the cannon. So here into Nat's turn, the Furies have been charged, obviously, and destroyed, and the Vampires and the Black Knights have reformed. The Skeletons have charged the cannon and are hoping to take it out with static resolution. They do win, but I roll, I think, a 4 on the leadership test, so no problems there. And the Ghouls head towards the centre, having ripped the Bloodletters apart. So into my turn, you can see my good friend Nat there. The Crushers basically rescue the cannon. The Dogs charge the heavy cavalry unit. Not expecting to do too well there, but they do manage to kill the BSB, which is a bonus. And the Herald moves again on his disc into a place of safety. So here we are in Nat's turn. Basically, his vampire hero rips the Dogs apart with the help of the Black Knights. But they do manage to the dogs do manage to keep him there for a turn of combat. The ghouls move into the centre, presumably to protect the heavy cavalry, and that's pretty much the end of that turn, really. So into my next turn, the Crushers and the Cannon are both advancing on the vampires, the vampire at this point, and his cavalry unit. I do manage to wound the vampire with the cannon, but he has a 2+ ward save against flaming attacks, so that's not particularly useful. The Herald hangs around, does a bit of searing doom, but is basically dispelled. We missed a photo here, but basically the ghouls head into the centre, cut off the blood crushers, and the vampires you can see there basically head for the hills, try and get away. So in my final turn, the crushers charged the ghouls and wiped them out. The cannon, I think, misfired, basically failed to do anything, and my spells were dispelled, and that was where it ended, with the vampires basically running away, and I've taken quite heavy casualties. So here we are back at the start. The game really was characterised by an ineffectual Tzeentch Herald who managed to cast very little for me, partly based on Winds of Magic, and a cannon that flopped around a lot really after taking out some skeleton cavalry. The Crushers played and won the game for me, but the Terrorgeist mistake was a big thing at the start. The ghouls were awesome against the Bloodletters, so basically a bloody nose but a victory at the end of the day for me was what it came down to.